Hi everyone, this is Sean. I'm going to take you through what's new in our latest release, 4.2.1, and we'll cover these topics. We've got mostly accounting updates on the web desktop. So this is the profit and loss or income statement updates. We've got internal transfer changes with exchange rates, some updates with banking, navigation, unlocking the operating income accounts, cash and accrual toggle. So it's quite a big accounting release, and a few other smaller updates. I'll also show you what we've done on Android and iOS. It's much of a similar picture. So we've got profit and loss, internal transfer updates. Some differences are the matching updates for matching transactions and recent activity. Okay, so we'll head over to the main desktop at the moment. Okay, so the first thing we'll run through is the profit and loss updates. So what we'll see is in accounting, we now have the reports. So profit and loss now, what are the changes? We now have the cash and accrual toggle, which also respects the company level cash and accrual. So if we go to accounting settings, we have the cash and accrual toggle. So we also have, let's go back to profit and loss. We've also introduced the export, so export in Excel and export in PDF. So if we have a look at the detailed view of this report, we have drilled down on the report. So if we want to have a look at our sales of products, for example, this is an income account, which you'll cover a little bit later as well. So we can see what our sales of products are. We can also toggle the cash and accrual within this within these accounts, and we can navigate easily back to the income statement or profit and loss. The name and title of the reports are editable, and so is the notes, which will be included in the exports if you want to print these off and send them. So that pretty much covers web-based changes to the profit and loss. So what is next? Right, so we have internals transfer with exchange rates. Okay, so on the internal, so in accounting, and I'll look at the chart of accounts. If you connect your bank accounts or you have money accounts, you have your default bank account and you transfer money between these accounts. If you send money from your UK bank account to your Euro bank account, you need to record that as an internal transfer. So if we have a look at some examples, over here I got some transactions that have gone out. So if I look at this £100 going out, what we can do now for internal transfer is we can either use the quick method where we select internal transfer, and here we can see potential matches that we've got, or we can just do a direct internal transfer. Or we can, if we just expand this now, we can just choose internal transfer from within the expanded element. So let's choose this deposit to Euro account. And what we will see now is the exchange rate. And this exchange rate is made up of three rates because we've got the home currency rate of USD in this, and we've got a transfer to GBP, and this is a Euro account. So for here, we'll be able to see the cross rates for these. Should round these a little bit. Okay, so we'll update that. If we were going to do an internal transfer without matching, we could just do out. So for example, we'll do out 200. And then what we could do is either choose internal transfer, which would give us the same option, or we could just choose a money account. So if we're just choosing our bank account, we would just choose bank account and we would put the amount of, so this would be probably 244 roughly to pounds to USD, and we'd see the exchange rate of that and we could create that. And then from these, you can navigate easily backwards and forwards between the two accounts. Okay, so then that covers the internal transfer, banking totals in accounts, and navigation updates. So the banking totals is quite simple. So when you connect your bank account, you can move between your connected bank accounts. So these are connected using either Yodlee or SaltEdge, and all they do is bring in your accounting transactions. So if you click on these, you'll see the accounting transactions. Let's have a look at this year. So we can see the accounting transactions for this year, and we can see the bank balance, as well as the last time this bank was refreshed and transactions were pulled in. Some connections need user intervention after a certain amount of days or weeks, and you'll be notified here when you're looking at this account, and you can navigate backwards and forwards to these bank transactions and these bank accounts. Okay, so then finally, let's have a look. Navigation updates. These are just navigation updates within accounting. Won't go over those. Unlocking the income accounts. So income accounts are, if we have a look at our chart of accounts, if we go to income, these income accounts, especially sales of products, sales of services, sales of build expenses, these are generated from the products that are on your invoices that have gone out and been sold. So these have now been unlocked as part of the P&L updates, and you can generate reports of these. So one slight difference with Fiskl is you can actually add, these are generated transactions, sort of report transactions, but you can also actually add your own sales of product transactions yourself. Right, so cash and accrual toggle, we covered that a bit. So what we've got is each account has their cash and accrual, the reports have their cash and accrual toggle, and you've got a high level company set in cash and accrual toggle. Right, so search and bulk action improvements and email improvements. We'll cover all of those in one go. So search is just very simple. All the lists, so if we go to any list, let's have a look at our bank account. All these lists have a subtle change update in their search and their filtering. And we also have bulk transaction updates on all the lists, which just make it easier to see what's been selected and what bulk edits actions you're going to do on these. Then finally, the email updates. The email updates are mostly related to Outlook and Outlook Express and various Outlook clients to ensure that any of the HTML emails are being displayed correctly. So there were some problems on various Outlook clients, and these have now been updated. We have also changed the custom email. So if you create an invoice, you can write your own custom emails, and this has been changed so that you can embed your own HTML should you want. So these custom emails, I'll just cover that quickly. So if you create an invoice, let me create an invoice quickly. Right, so on the invoices, if you create an invoice, you have the choice to use customized emails, and on these customized emails you can add in various templates which will be generated at the time, or you can use the standard email template. And this standard email template is HTML template, but it is localized into over 60 languages. So if you choose your invoice language as anything other than English, the whole process will be localized with that custom. If you want to default this, you can use your templates and brands, and within your template and brand, you can actually customize the text on all the emails that we send out for your company. So if we wanted to add a space for here, for example, or add some HTML, we could do that and just save. Okay, so that covers pretty much everything that's on the web at the moment. So I'll move to mobile. Okay, so if you haven't used the mobile devices, I highly recommend you have a look at them. They're fully fledged, applications. So if you didn't have a computer, a desktop computer, you wouldn't need one. You can do everything on the desktop that you can do on the mobile. So they are fully featured and they follow the exact same layout. So the first thing is P&L update. So now Android and iOS get their P&L, and so if we navigate to the left here using this main menu icon to the reports, we will see we now have the profit and loss. So expand the profit and loss. We start off with the default of the summary. The amounts are and totals and values are changeable. Sorry, the totals are the descriptions are changeable. So if we call this income statement. for example, if you don't like profit and loss. And on the gear icon in the top left or top right here, we have the way to interact. So we can choose the customize this report. We'll do a detailed. We've also got the cash and accrual toggle, and we now have the detailed report. We also have the drill down in the report. So if we can drill down into sales of services, we can see the sales of services. We have our cash and accrual toggle like we have on the web, and the account balance. So exactly the same as what we've got on the web dashboard, we have on the mobile device. So the next one is internal transfer and exchange. So internal transfer works the same as on web. So if we go to, let's have a look at our chart of accounts. Our money accounts are under cash and cash equivalents and also credit cards. We'll focus on this. If we have a look at the UK bank, so we've got some out transactions. So let's have a look at this £200 that has been transferred out. So if we choose internal transfer using the selector, we now get matches. So we've only got one match at the moment. So this is our US dollar match. And again, that matches and we get the transfer rate and we can save that. So the exact same goes for if we're doing a sort of transaction without matching. So if we wanted to create a 200, let's do exactly the same amount. So transfer, and we choose internal transfer, or we choose the money account. So let's just choose bank account, and you'll see that we'll switch to internal transfer, and this will be 244 roughly, or let's make it 245, 250. So okay, so let's save that. And so now we have this internal transfer. We also know what rate it was done at, and so everything is the same as on the web. So banking totals in accounts, it's the bank accounts, so the connected bank accounts are the same, so you can see what banks you have connected. From here you can navigate to your accounts and you can see the banking totals and navigate back using those banking totals. You'll also see the last time it was refreshed, and if you need to take action on that. So the operating income accounts are the same. They're unlocked like in web dashboard. We won't go into that. Matching updates. Right, so matching updates are, an example of a matching update is in accounting, so if we have a look at our transactions, if we say look at our bank account, we have internal transfers, but here we also have a dark ink. This is an, let's just say this is an expense that was paid, and we have expenses within Fiskl for these. So if we open these up and we look at use the match functionality at the bottom, we can see we have two expenses and with one payment that we wanted to break out. So we can choose both of these and we can match those. So if we go have a look at these expenses, which we, oops, let me just save that, save it first. If we go look at our expenses, we will see now that we have our two expenses that we added previously, and they are now matched. You don't have to add these expenses previously. You can create them as part of the invoice matching. Now, if we take an example of an invoice, so let's just go to create an invoice. Let's just say we have this top invoice, and this invoice has been paid. So I'm just going to send this. I'll send this first. So the status of this will change to sent. And let's just say it was a bank transfer. So what would happen is, I'm going to go back to our accounting. So that was a $200 invoice. So if I go back to accounting, what would happen is we would get an in transaction. Now let's just say, for example, this in transaction was, we'll call it from Stripe, although Stripe would behave slightly differently. But for example, that invoice was for 200. But let's just say we've got $190 payment. Let's just say there were $10 fees along the way. Right, so now what we get is we get this $190 and we need to match it to a $200 invoice. So what we would do is we would choose match. And so now we can see what we've got. We've got a $200 invoice, so we would match this. But now we'll see that this is 190. So what we need to do is edit the amount. So we'll match this as 200. Right, and so now we have an additional amount. So we'll just add a split transaction for the additional amount, and we'll call these the fees. So these will be payment processing fees. We will save these. And so now we managed to do a split match transaction. Okay, so if this was a Stripe transaction, we would already know. So if we have a look at a invoice that's been paid with Stripe, you'll see, I think that, let's have a look. Payments. Okay, so we can see that this was paid by Stripe. We would already have all the fees that Stripe charged and returned. And so the matching process for that would be a lot easier. We would automatically create the fees. So then what else? We have the cash and accrual toggle. That's exactly the same as we went through on web. And then the only difference is recent activity. So on the mobile devices, if you look into home, you can scroll down to recent activity. So here we have our usual recent activity, but now you can drill down a little bit deeper into all the items that you've got. So we can see that we've just paid, and you can search for any recent activity on your whole account. And these are linkable. So if we have a look at that email, that links to this, and which links to this payment. So those are all the updates that we've recently released in the final release. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment below. Any suggestions, let us know. Okay, thanks.